Physician, a physician pre-sentence report service, white collar physician prison consultants. My phone is 240-888-7778. And thank you for listening in today. You've been indicted, facing prison. You don't want to give up. But today we're going to talk about that experience that you go through. If in fact you've received a target letter at your home or work, you had the FBI come to your home or work and they want to talk to you, and hopefully all you did was take a business card and tell them nicely that you'll get back to them over the phone. People have come to you and they've said to you that they've heard rumors or that the FBI has been asking questions. This can really rattle you to your core. And so, this fear of the potential indictment, it's a surreal moment. For me, I was panicked. Some people get anger. This can't be happening. I thought it was a mistake. How do you counter this initial fear and panic of the unknown? For some, I would have liked to have known about these different groups ahead of time. This happened to me in 2006. I had a felony conviction on the surgical suite side of my practice. I did get my medical license reinstated several years later, but it was a terrifying experience. And so you're not alone. And this is on the website. You can go to this on my website, but this is a group. It's a white collar support group. And it's the only white collar support group, the world's first group devoted to white collar criminal justice. This is started by an attorney who was convicted, got back his legal license. But this is a great video. I'm not going to play for you now. It's short for you to, it introduces other members of his team and what they've gone through, but they have 3 or 4 different meetings every week. And so it's a very, very helpful. And they're live. They're not just sitting there. There are Zooms, so you can raise your hand, ask questions. It's a great, great service. But I let panic, really staggered me. I mean, I was the least seeing patients, but the writing was on the wall. And so, as I already mentioned, did you get a target letter? Was the FBI? Did they come by and have some questions? Hopefully, you didn't speak to them. Were there rumors? FBI has been asking questions. This is a sample target letter. I would blow it up larger on my computer, but I'm not sure how to do that. And so for me, it was 3 and 4. I heard rumors. Patients of mine were coming to me and telling me there were several. The first said that the FBI came to her and she met with her husband and the FBI agent, and she said that they did surgery. Dr. Blatstein did surgery on her, and she showed the scars. She showed the surgical shoes, everything, all the blood tests, lab results, everything. And the second person was a male, and the same type of question and answer where, he showed the surgical scars and all the surgical post-operative, boots and shoes and what have you. But by the end of by the time that person came to me, all of a sudden I was like upset. And so I called my corporate law firm, which went ahead and turned me over to their corporate white collar team, which was headed by a former prosecutor turned white collar criminal defense attorney, a very nice guy. But there are several things you're going to need to do. And the first is you need legal representation, and they need to be a good fit for you. And a lot of this stuff I did not know, but I'm going to go through it with you here. You need to ask questions, and I'll go through reasons why. First of all, you want an attorney who practices federal criminal defense in federal court. It makes sense, but if you don't ask, you're not going to know. They want to have experience in cases like yours. This is important because if they do, it's going to help you on several other questions. And so you want to know, and you can read this while I'm talking, but you want to know if there are several clients that will let you speak to them. And the attorney may be hesitant, but if they have a large practice, I'm pretty sure that they could find 1 or 2 attorneys. Nobody likes going to prison, but I'm pretty sure that they may be able to find, a client or two's family that would be willing to have a conversation with you. They have what's called sentencing memorandums. These are arguments that the attorney puts through to the court 7 to 10 days before your sentence. See if you could read, if he's willing to provide copies of a couple of them. And the attorney may agree, he or she may say that there's a HIPAA and there's privacy, and that's true. You can redact. And most PDF files have that capability built into them. But essentially, there are 2 points I want to bring out here. First point is that you want to make sure that they all look different. They have to be individualized to the person. The second point is that judges really get a feel for this is before sentencing. They get a feel for the attorney if they don't know the attorney, because right away, because some attorneys get these sentencing memoranda into them late, or cookie cutter. In other words, almost from a template. It's called Booker, and judges just don't like to see that. You may want to ask them why they went into the practice of law. You want to learn whether is a fee arrangement, are they flat fees, or is there an hourly rate? If in fact we're talking going to trial or an appeal, you may want to ask them how many trials or appeals have they won. Now, today is July 6th. It's 7 in the evening. It so happens to be Sean Diddy Combs is in trial, and he just came through the first phase of his jury trial, where he was convicted on 2 of the 5 counts. He had an excellent, excellent law firm. I mean, the best of the best. And he was not convicted of the hardest or the harshest of the indictments, which was RICO and then 2 others. And so the fact that he was guilty on 2 of the lesser charges is tolerable. And he didn't do anything outrageous during the trial. And so he's a very lucky guy, but he had a very good law firm. And so you want to know, but the percentages, how they won, or how many have they won, in the appeals or trials. And then going forward, I bring this up because judges want to know, judges have across the country have been interviewed. And essentially, this is their viewpoint, which I repeat over and over through my website. It's the following: Judge Robert Scalia, don't wait to think about sentencing advocacy. These are judges talking to attorneys. Since 99% of federal criminal clients are facing sentencing, start preparing for the case for sentencing early on. And so this is, almost beginning from the get-go for the pre-sentence interview, or at least for some background on the client if you're going to trial. Another, Judge Schultz says it's surprising how many otherwise competent attorneys punt at the sentencing hearing. This is with regard to not, one, getting the sentencing memorandum in on time, which I mentioned, and 2, not preparing their client for the allocution or their conversation with the judge. And the best way that I can see to be prepared for that is to have a lot of time and effort put into drafting a well-written personal story, personal narrative, your background, what brought you to this point today. Because judges understand that crimes don't happen in a vacuum, but they're going to want to know, how you came to be standing in front of the court today. And so when the judge asks you if you have anything to say, which happened to me, and I looked at my attorney because I didn't know I was going to be asked anything. Granted, I'll give my attorney a pass because I was probably a horrible client and I was not a great client. I was nervous and panicked the entire time. But you want to be prepared for this. And lastly, Judge Mark Bennett, the importance of writing your personal narrative and then having it included in your pre-sentence report, because a great personal narrative should have all the information required that the probation officer needs for their pre-sentence report. And by having then the judge get this ahead of time, that may change the judge's mind of who you are up front. Why is picking your attorney and asking all those questions so important? Almost more important than picking your spouse. Because when you can get a divorce from your spouse, it's messy, but it can be done. But you can't get a divorce from your attorney before sentencing, because that can be a nightmare and it could leave you with buyer's remorse and no attorney. That's why you want to ask these questions ahead of time. I hope you found this helpful, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this portion of the video, and have a good day.